What's up, guys? I tell you what, I have a little bit of time off work. Got I took a voluntary day off the day before Christmas. It was voluntary. It wasn't. If you were going to take off, you could use a sick day or a vacation day, but that was on your 2025 year cycle. Well, I had no vacation time left, and I had no sick days left. So I just took the 24th off, no pay. But um, Christmas, all the way up to the 5th, any day through the week that's paid off for me. So I'm actually off work till the 5th. But I guess it was like a week and a half ago. It was a couple streams ago. I started getting a little sick. And I, I just can't seem to shake it. It's in my chest. Linnell can barely have talk. Um, well, both her and I both spent a lot of time today in the bed trying to get better. So if I sound a little funny, it's just because I'm under the weather. I've talked to a couple of people at work, and everyone's just kind of, I don't know if it's the flu. You can hear Linnell in the background coughing. It's going around. So if you don't have it, lock yourself in a room and don't be around someone that's got the sniffles or the coughs, because it seems to be pretty contagious, and it is in your chest. It is very heavy. So I'm going to open up the chat window. I do know that we have Vox. Vox comes every week because he likes the intermission. That's the only time where you don't get to see my ugly mug. I started the intermission thing to kind of give everyone a break. I thought it was kind of cool. We still do it, just like we do the 5-minute ending thing at the end of the stream that you guys can talk and chat. Just something a little different that I don't see any other channels doing. We do try to be a little different. But this stream, I am going to try to pay attention to the chat. Now, I see Cycleman's already put our fearless queen. She does not have a mic tonight. I asked her, and to be honest with you, you only can really hear about 50% of what she says. Her voice is breaking up so bad, so she does not have a microphone tonight, per her request. So it's just me, but I know she's going to be in there typing away, so you guys can talk and chat to her. I am going to try to do what Searching for Tone does. Now, he has this mastered, and I don't have his little program that comes up with your all's chat, so I'm just going to kind of read it. Mini Guitar Society says, hope you all feel better, both of you. Well, I believe Steve is feeling under the weather, too. I saw Steve was in the chat earlier. Spoke to him a couple times on the phone, and I see we got Searching for Tone in here. Spoke to Brian on the phone this week. Now, Brian did not sound sick. If he was sick, he had a lot of Dayquil in him, because I did not detect him feeling under the weather whatsoever. So I think he's feeling pretty good. But I know Steve is a little under the weather. Linnell is under the weather. I'm a little under the weather. And, of course, Vox is like, intermission rocks. I thought about doing like a little ditty track to that, and just using OBS and a audio file and letting it play. But it's been so long with just the screen. I think everyone kind of gets it. It's just a break scene. So it does on my queen and still have some shoes for over a month. That's Cheryl. Intermission is the bomb. That's Zach. Ha! Glad you guys like that. Let me see. I'm not very good at this, guys. I usually let Linnell read the chat, and she just hollers in at me. Brian says, so far he's in the clear on being ill. That's a good thing. Up here, the weather has been so strange. It was almost 60 degrees Christmas Day, and then the very next day, it was 29. So a lot of that. The past 3 weeks here, it has been, well, it did drop down into the teens for a couple days, then it hovered around 30. Then we had some 50-degree days, and that dropped back down to the 30s. And that's how I got it. We had a couple warm days, so I tried to go outside and catch up on some of my exterior work that I had to do. And of course, then the temperature dropped. And the building that we're particularly in right now, the heating system they installed does not work. They've been out 6 times to work on it. I'm sorry, when all 4 furnaces are running and the temperature of the building is 58 degrees, there's a problem. And they keep coming in saying, well, it's because the other unit's not on. If one unit fails, you can't tell me that the other units couldn't keep at least the building to 70. I just don't see it. They're not blowing any air. They claim that's the way the system works. And I told them, I said, well, you guys are going to get a lot of callbacks because this system isn't right for the building. So it hasn't helped that the last month and a half, the inside temperature some days has been colder than the outside temperature because the building has 2-foot thick walls in it, and they're solid 2-foot stone thick walls. So if the temperature would rise up during the day quickly, it was actually colder inside with the furnace running than it was outside because it dropped so much at night. So that didn't help, and I think a lot of it had to do with that. I got sick. And that has also caused us to fall really behind on a lot of things. If you guys look behind me, I did not get out again today. So that is all the guitars. That is the T's guitar. I've got a label for that. That's Brian's guitar, and that's Time Surfing Aliens guitar. So excuse me, I should hit the cough button more often. So I guess tomorrow's Sunday, so I'm going to run them down Monday and get them all shipped out to everyone. I apologize. It's just been really bad here lately. And today, I really planned on at least getting Time Surfing Aliens out to him because I do have the shipping address and everything. It's been packed. I just didn't get there. Just felt so bad today. So Monday morning, I will get them down to the United States Postal Service, if that's where it is. I didn't look at the one shipping label Steve sent me, so I don't know if that's UPS, FedEx, or USPS. But wherever that label is, that's where I'll take it to have it sent back to T's. So gradually getting everything taken care of. I do have Jupe's guitar down in the basement. He wants to try to install softer springs in it. So I have that guitar and, of course, the Firefly that we tried to put the bridge in. And I think, now this is what I'm thinking about doing. I think I brought this once before. I have a German-made Floyd Rose that I bought at Sweetwater. It was a demo. And it is in the smoke chrome or Cosmo chrome. And it matches the chrome on Linnell's gem that she has. So I'm thinking about putting that bridge in that guitar and then pulling the bridge out of the gem and sticking in the Firefly. And the only reason for that is the Firefly is going to be a resale guitar. So I thought about taking the Godot bridge and putting it in something else. I'm not sure yet. But I'll end up with a Ibanez stock bridge and the Godot bridge. I'm hoping maybe the Ibanez bridge will fit in the Firefly without having to modify the cavity. So if I don't have to modify it, that's going to save a little bit of time and the likelihood of me chipping the paint sets after out into the top of the guitar. Searching for Tones says, I shoveled last January. You know, I lived in South Carolina for a long time, and I guess it was either 87 or 88 in South Carolina we had a snowstorm. and I remember there being snow. And it shut, I think we got like an inch, inch and a half of snow, and it shut the town down for 3 days. I mean, down there it doesn't snow. So people don't know how to drive in it. They just, it's, they're not set up for it. They don't have salt trucks. So if I remember correctly, it snowed and then it got really cold. It started to melt. Then the roads froze over. And they had no way of even putting sand on the roads. They didn't really have trucks for that. So the farmers were putting sand in the trucks and going through town, just kind of sprinkling it out on the roads. But it was a mess. I want to say it was 87 or 88. It could have been 86. I can't really remember. It was probably 87 when that took place. And of course, when Hurricane Hugo hit, I packed up and moved to Virginia. So that was the last snowstorm that I remember in the South was in the 80s. Like I said, they're not prepared for it down there, so it makes it hard when it does snow. Up here, we have a lot of salt trucks, gravel trucks, plow trucks, and there's a lot of contractors that contract out the parking lots of these places. So unless it snows and it snows and it snows, usually it doesn't really affect us that much because they keep the roads open, they keep the interstate open, and most parking lots there's a backhoe or a bobcat or somebody there keeping the parking lots open for commerce. My apologies, guys. It's really in my chest. I wouldn't wish this. This one's bad. It's really down in my chest. So well, that's why I was talking about my days off. I mean, at least I'm paid off. So I'm I'm sick now. So it's the new year. I'll get more sick time, but it would really suck to have the first part of the year use all your sick time up, you know, right out of the gate. So I guess it's good that I'm sick now because it's a paid vacation time and I get better. And then when I go back to work, hopefully I'll be 100% again. But it's really hanging in there. I'm going to start reading the chat again. Melted in 4 days, never saw a plow on our block. Yeah, there was no plows in the South. People just drove over it. And that's what caused the issue because they packed it down, then it started to melt, and then it got cold again, it froze to the road, and then it really got dangerous. But it was only like 3 days, Brian, if I remember correctly. And I was in the northern side of the state, up near Mullins and Marion and Florence. I was actually in Mullins off of 501. So we were very northern part of the state, up next to Myrtle Beach, because I used to go to Myrtle Beach pretty much every day. Uh, BCG said, had a government contract 23 years ago plowing, 72 hours straight plowing and salting nonstop. Yeah, well, there's a lot of that, especially in my area. For back roads, they give contracts to people that have heavier trucks. They mount the smaller salt thing on the back with the plow, and they take care of a lot of the back roads in this area as the subcontractors. Where VDOT, they concentrate more on the major county roads and town streets, and of course interstates. But usually your back roads, subdivisions, stuff like that, that's all contract, either through the homeowners association or the county, depending on how the land is laid out. Devastator says finally got salt trucks with scrapers a couple years ago. Yeah, here that's a must have, because of the snow. We've had very mild winters here, probably the last 5 or 6 winters as far as snow. 2 years ago, we did have a really, really, really cold spell, but as far as snow, it wasn't bad. And I remember that cold spell because We were out on a historical property redoing some old historical cornice work. It was like a cornice that stepped. So I think all the pieces, it was 20 some piece cornice, and it was all made out of mahogany. And it was like 15 degrees outside. And I remember them putting these heaters pointing upwards towards the corners because we were having to put Gorilla Glue and biscuit joints in all the miters. And it was literally freezing on the boards. And for the first 3 or 4 hours of the day, it was below 30 degrees. So we would be outside cutting and then waiting for the temperature to get above 30 and then putting the heaters up. Everyone's going, wow, that's really bad. Mahogany is a very stable wood. That's why we build guitars out of it. So using it on cornice in this area, one, it doesn't rot. It doesn't contract and expand nearly as bad as other materials. So it's just a superior exterior wood for painting and doing exterior trim work. It's extremely expensive, but this was a historical building and it had to be put back the way it was. So all the crown, all the bed moldings, all the soffits, all the fascias, it was all solid mahogany. But it was so cold. You couldn't feel your fingers working with it. Grabbing the tools, it was miserable. But we did get, I think we got a little bit of snow that year, but not that much. It's been several years since we've gotten a really bad snowstorm here. We have gotten as much as 38 inches to 40 some inches. I remember that happening twice. But most of the time, if it snows, a bad snowstorm here would be 12 inches, 16 inches. That's about max. The average is going to be 4 to 8. And we really haven't had that the last 3 or 4 years. We just haven't had the snow. Cheryl says, get a snowblower. Have one in my garage. The problem with it is you only start it when you need it. And the first couple of years, that's fine. But you don't maintain it. So now I know if we got snow coming, if I went outside to try to start it, it would not start. I don't think I've started it in 3 or 4 years. The gasoline's probably far solid up in the carburetor. It's not going to start.
She was telling Juke to get a snowblower.
What's that?
She was telling Juke to get a snowblower.
Oh, yeah. If you guys can't hear, I guess I don't need these. Since Linnell doesn't have a microphone, I guess there's really no need in wearing those things. I got so used to trying to listen for Linnell when she was talking when I was playing the guitar. I don't really need them. Yeah, it's good to see Jupe in here. I see. Now let's go through, see who's here. We got Cycleman, Mini Guitar Society, Cheryl, Devastator, Jupe, Birdman. Let's see who else. I know we got Searching for Tone came in. Mikey, BCG Guitars, Time Surfing Alien. I'm pretty sorry I saw Zach and Steve in here. If I'm missing anybody, I apologize. I am scrolling back. Oh, of course, Vox. But Vox isn't going to pay attention. He only comes to life during the intermissions. So don't worry about Vox. He's here for the intermission. And then we also have Niles. It's good to see Niles in here. And of course the Funny Honey and Trucker Bob. Oh my gosh, Trucker Bob's in here. We've got a good little group in here today. Now I can't hear that because I don't have my headphones on. So hopefully it wasn't too loud. No, that's not too bad. I didn't plan on doing a large stream day tonight, guys, because I am under the weather. I just wanted to get on and do our Saturday night show. It has become something that I really enjoy doing. Just so everyone knows, I'm going to come up with a set of rules, and this is not for you guys. This is for me. I am going to sit down and I'm going to come up with a list of things that I feel a guitar needs to be at certain levels. Um, I really do feel that I need to do that. That way I can have a standardized grading system, if that makes sense. There's a couple things that I feel guitars have to have for them to be good guitars. There's several things a guitar has to have for it to be a mod platform.
So you know, it's Kleist, it's Mark.
Oh, it's Mark.
It's not Cycleman, it's Kleistman.
Oh, it's Kleissman. Guys, I am the worst at reading names, so sorry. I know YouTube changed a bunch of names, and I'm still getting used to it. So sorry, Mark. Uh, um, so basically, there are certain things that we have to have. Whether you're buying a guitar to modify it or you're buying a guitar because you only have $200 or $300, either way, the guitar has to have a couple fundamental things. It needs to have a decent body and it needs to have a decent neck. The fretwork and stuff like that needs to be decent on the guitar. Bolt-on stuff, that becomes a little easier. If it has bad tuners on it, it's pretty easy to put tuners on it. Everyone can install tuners. Um, Pickups, not as easy as tuners, only because you have to have a soldering iron and you got to do some basic soldering. But still, an easy thing to do if you're just putting the pickups back in the way they were. You're not doing any trick wiring. You're just going to put them right back in the guitar exactly the way the stock configuration is. A beginner can do that with a soldering iron. Putting new strings on the guitar, a lot of inexpensive guitars come with inexpensive strings. So if you're playing guitar, that's something that you need to learn how to do pretty quickly. Be able to change your own strings and do your intonation work. Those things pretty easy to do. If it gets into you have bad frets, okay, or the nut itself is really bad on the guitar, these are things that become a little more difficult. Because if you're cutting your own nut, sometimes you can get the sitar effect if you're not used to doing it, and leveling frets. Leveling frets, you need a couple things. Do you need expensive tools to do it? No. You can go down to Lowe's and buy an aluminum square tube, okay? And it'll be, I'm not saying it's perfectly straight. Just look down them. Try to get a decent piece that's about 16 inches long. And you can do basic fretwork with that and basic hobby files, okay? The drawback to a hobby file, believe me, I've done guitars with the little triangle files and the round files. The only drawback to those type files, if you don't really put your finger down on the fretboard and you're filing, you can really damage the fretboard pretty quickly because the file is cut on its edge. My apologies. The file is cut on its edge, so it's really easy to damage the fretboard with hobby files. If you look at an in-dressing file, even the square edge of the file is not dressed, the flat edge. Now it is dressed all the way to the square, but the flat edge isn't dressed. On the bullnose side, the whole bullnose is not dressed. That way you can lay the file in and you can move it like this across the fingerboard, and it's not cutting into the fingerboard. But you can do the work with a triangle file and a flat file. You just have to be very careful, and since it's not a radius file, you have to work the file across the fret like this. Not only like that, but the fret has an arc. So you have to do that all the way across the arc of the fret. People talk about the fretwork in the 70s and the 60s. These were the files they used. And it was extremely difficult to do nice radius, file work on these type guitars because there weren't specialty tools like we have nowadays. Things have gotten a lot easier because of the specialty tools that we have. I love the Fret Guru file because it already has a radius on it. It saves so much time. It has two different radiuses on it, so I can flip the file around and file more on the side of the fret or more on the top of the fret. It works, and it's so much easier. And even when the frets get down real far, the edge of the Fret Guru file, where it touches the fingerboard, it doesn't cut into the fingerboard because there's no engagement there. It's smooth. Where in a triangle file, when you try to get down next to the fingerboard, the edge of that file does cut, so you can damage the fingerboard. So when you buy these guitars, think about what you can and can't do and what you feel comfortable doing. If you don't have the tools to fix this kind of stuff, that kind of takes those certain guitars out of the equation. I don't have an issue with doing it. I've got a guitar over here that I love to death. It's a Firefly. It was, I've gotten good ones and bad ones. And I always go back and watch my streams. And I want to clarify a couple things on the last stream. If it upsets people, it upsets people. Firefly, as far as a budget guitar, has been probably the best budget instrument the channel has seen. That doesn't mean I haven't gotten some bad ones. I sent the translucent red FFDC back because it's translucent. So what they did, and it was so stupid, that the guitar neck's here, and you got a translucent finish, and the seams of the wood were doing this across the guitar. So the grain was going crossways. It looked so stupid. Was it cracked? No, it wasn't cracked. But set the slab on the CNC square before you machine the body, because it was all crooked. I guess my OCD kicked in, and I'm like, I'm not accepting this. The neck is here, and the grain is doing this down the body. It looks stupid. That's fine if I shouldn't even say it's fine on a painted guitar. At least on a painted guitar, you wouldn't know that the grain's going funny in the guitar. But on a translucent guitar where you see the grain, come on, you just don't do that. So I sent the guitar back. They just credited me the money, and they don't. Back then they didn't send you the money. I sent the guitar, they gave me a credit, and then I was able to purchase another guitar. Well, at the time, that guitar was $169, and I think it was like $25 to ship, so I had that much credit. I had to give them a little bit more money. I think I gave them $30 more, and I ordered a different Firefly. That's the only one that I got sent back. I did get a Firefly Telecaster that I really liked, but the body was cracked on it, and it was right in the glue seam where the slab had been glued together. I didn't send it back. I just sold it to someone that watched the channel. I think it was like $100. It was half of what I paid for it. He didn't have a problem with it. He didn't care that the body had a hairline crack in it. I have never heard back from him, so I assume that he said he was going to put some CA glue in it and try to clamp it back together. I don't know if he ever did that or not. And of course, everyone knows the FFMN, the first one. Go back to my very first video ever. I opened that guitar up and I called it a horrible guitar. It was a horrible guitar. It had a lot of uneven frets, and the strings hung up underneath the ball ends, and the tremolo would not, the guitar would not stay in tune. It was a horrible guitar. But that really started the channel because I took that guitar and I modified it, and I tried to make it as good as I could, as I possibly could with the stock parts. And we did that. The guitar was playable in its stock form. Then we took it back apart and we added some mod parts to it and really made it a nice guitar. The guitar is not worth, in someone else's mind, Like I had over $600 in that guitar. Is that guitar worth $600? It is to someone that knows what parts cost and how much labor is, but you're not going to get that out of it, sadly to say. It's a Firefly. You're not going to get your money back out of it. It's hard to even modify, Jacksons and Charvels and get your money out of them. What I usually tell people, if you've added pickups to a medium price guitar, save your old pickups. When you go to sell it, take your high end pickups out, take your tuners out, anything that you put on the guitar, put the stock stuff back at it and sell it. Because when you take it somewhere, they're not going to give you anything extra for your nice pickups and your nice tuner and keys and stuff like that. And in some cases, it's going to lower the value of the guitar. So when you buy your hot rod stuff, buy stuff that you can transfer to your next project. You're not gaining anything by letting it go in the guitar. If you're just done with it, and you're like, okay, I'm done using Seymour Duncan JB pickups. I really like the blackouts. I'm just going to let this guitar go with the JBs. I don't want them for any future project. That's different. But me, I kind of know what I like. So I'm going to try to hold on to that stuff because I'm going to buy that kind of stuff again to put in my next project. All this comes down to the last review. I got to give that guitar a failing grade. I know at the end I went back and looked at it and said the guitar was worth the asking price. It is not worth the asking price. And I have to be very clear on that. There's too many guitars out there because the asking price on that with the pro setup and the tuners was $279. You can buy a lot of guitars out there that's not going to have the problems that guitar had for $279. There are a tremendous amount of guitars out there that you can buy at the $200 price point to $300 price point that are going to have better pickups and better fretwork. Um, I promise this. This is something I promise to you guys. I I don't ever want to be mean to a company, but I think you can read my facial expressions when I'm doing a review on how I feel about a product. I don't want to talk bad about any guitar. I don't think I've ever slammed Leo James. I always tell you I just think their fretwork sucks. I don't slam Firefly, even though I tell you their customer service kind of sucks. But it's not slamming the company. Firefly's customer service isn't that good. Leo James, on the other hand, has Amazon. Amazon takes care of it. If you ordered it from Amazon, Amazon's going to back it and take care of it. I've never had a problem with Amazon. Now, with Leo James, if it wasn't sent from Amazon and it was shipped from Leo James, wherever their warehouse is, there's a difference. If Amazon shipped it, I'll get credited as soon as I drop it off at the UPS store. If Amazon didn't ship it and supply it to me, then it's usually 35 days before I get the credit. You don't know, but this is usually how you can tell. If it'll be at your house within 2 days, Amazon's filling the order. If it's longer than 2-3 days, it's like 3 or 4 days, it's usually coming from the vendor itself, and you're going to be waiting for a credit if there is a problem. What's wrong, hon?
You got a super chat from Mini Guitar.
Oh, thank you, Mini Guitar Society. I need some sugar-free cough drops. I don't know. I don't have my headphones on, so I'm pretty sure the muted mic button thing should be working tonight. But you got Amazon backing it. As far as Tees, I've heard Tees has good customer service. Steve sent them a message, and Steve has sent me an email with a shipping thing. Seemed like it went fine, so there's evidently no issues there. But I have to say the guitar that I received is not worth the asking price. Is it worth it without the pro setup? I'm answering this because this was a Discord thing. I'm still going to say no, because it's like $279 and $30 for the tuners. That puts it at $210. I know Firefly just had their little telly back on there, the white telly for $199, and the last one that ooh, thank you, Mike. The last one that I reviewed from Firefly, it had a crack in the body, but the fretwork on the guitar was good. The tuners were good, and I liked the sound of the instrument. So I'm still going to say it's not worth the asking price. I'm going to say the exact same thing that I say about Leo James. Your fretwork is the guitar. You're buying a budget instrument as a mod platform, or you're buying it because you just need something decent, okay, at a very inexpensive price. Either way, the guitar has to have decent fretwork. This comes back to the beginning of the show. What do we want to consider decent fretwork? Well, number one, this is my opinion. I need you guys to say what your opinion is. If it has a low fret, it's automatically not acceptable. And the reason I'm saying that is a low fret, we have to sand the frets. You got to sand them all.
Scooch your mic in a little bit.
Turn it down a little bit.
Bring your mic closer.
Oh. My monitor's in the way, guys, so it's hitting the one boom arm. So if you have see, now it says that I'm clipping. Now that I moved the mic, I'm staying in the red. Check. So if you have a low fret, that, in my opinion, kicks it out. If you're wanting to buy an inexpensive guitar to play, and you don't want to really mess with it, a low fret means you've got to level the frets to get the guitar right. There's no way of getting around it. Even if you're beginning, you want to touch up frets before you level all your frets. So I'm going to say low fret immediately kicks the guitar off the good list. So how many high frets does it take before it becomes a guitar that we're going to say isn't too good? Is it 3 high frets, 4 high frets, 5 high frets, 6 high frets, 7 high frets, 8 high frets? Because on Leo James, the average was, I think if I go back and watch, probably 4 to 6, maybe 7 on Leo James. The T's had a lot more than 7 high frets. So that's not acceptable. I'm going to say it's dependent on how bad the fret is. You know, you'll watch me do reviews and I'm saying it's just barely rocking. And I always say most people wouldn't call that fret. Let's take those out of the equation, okay? But if the fret rocker's really rocking and you've got, let's say, 3 spots that really rock, I'm going to say that's not a good instrument. And I think what these companies are doing, and again, guys, these are guesstimations. Just like when I guesstimate what the finish is, whether it's a UV finish, a 2K poly finish, whether it's just standard urethane, or they're using shellac, you know, there's all kinds of different lacquers too. You know, people talk about the lacquer finishes. Gibson uses a lacquer. Fender uses a lacquer. What kind of lacquer are they using? There's different kind of finishes. So I kind of guess, you know, a lot of companies use polyurethane. Well, there's 50,000 different kinds of polyurethane. A lot of companies use 2K poly because it's harder. UV is a poly-based product too. It's just it uses UV light to harden it. So we got to kind of guess at things, just like we kind of guess at the windings on the pickup. We use our meters to kind of guess what they're doing. It's all guesswork because I don't work at the factory. But what I think these companies are doing, and this is just what I think they're doing, they have their fretboard, and that they know their fretboard is a 12-inch radius. And they know that. So they put a 12-inch caul in their press, and they press these frets in with the 12-inch caul, and they probably press it, move it, press it, move it, press it, and that's it. They press all these frets in, and they're not leveling the frets. I don't think they're touching the frets. I really don't. I think they might be doing an end dressing on the frets. I think they might be doing a end dressing on the frets, especially a conventional fret. But a ball-ended fret guitar, it's already pre-dressed. So think about it. If you press that fret in and you get it tight to the fingerboard, and the fingerboard is straight and true, technically you shouldn't have to level the frets. It should be close enough. And I am gonna go out on a limb and say that's exactly what the Tease guitar does, and that's exactly what Leo James is doing. And I'm gonna say Firefly does the exact same thing. Okay? It just seems like the Fireflies are a little more consistent. Now they could be just barely running the leveling tool over them, but I guarantee you Leo James and Tease, whoever the manufacturer is, because Leo James is not building those guitars, and Tease is not building those guitars. It's China. I'm going to say they're pressing them in, and they're trying to get them all the way down tight to the fretboard, and that's it. It's good enough. The fret wire should be consistent, and the press should be consistent enough. When I see that many high frets, there's no way they were ever leveled. You're not going to tell me someone leveled those frets and it was put on a boat and it come over here and they got that out of whack. You'll go back, watch my Leo James. I said the exact same thing about theirs. There's no way that many frets went out like that. So I'm going to guess that they're pressing the frets in to a 12-inch radius fingerboard that is trued up, and they're depending on the milling of that fingerboard being that true. And they press, roll, press, roll, press. 3 presses, next fret. Press, roll it a little bit, press, roll it a little bit, press. And that's it. That's what they're doing to them. And as they go down the neck, if that fret presses down tight against the wood, it technically should be level. I do production CNC work. Technically speaking, that should work. If all the stars align and everything in the shop is perfect, what I just said technically should work. If the manufacturer of the fret wire is always the same in the thickness and it's very consistent and it's milled true, and the fret call pressure is consistent, if all these things are consistent in your manufacturing, it should be right. The drawback to that is I don't think they're going to have a hydraulic press measuring pressure. There's going to be someone, because it's made in China, there's going to be someone there, press, 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 and maybe or maybe not, each time they pull the press, it's the exact same amount of pressure. Maybe this piece of wood shrunk a little bit or had a little bit more moisture in it. when it was done with the machine to cut the grooves for the frets, and it's expanded, and now it requires a little more pressure to get the fret down in the fretboard, and the person's just doing their exact same routine on every guitar neck that passes them. It could be something like that. But my professional opinion, being a woodworker and a CNC guy and servicing guitars for 30 years, I am going to guess that that's how they're approaching these guitars. Remember, hand time costs money. These are inexpensive guitars. He's selling the guitar for $179 without the fancy tuners and with no setup. So that means he needs to make money. So he's not paying that for the guitar. Whatever he's making, it doesn't concern me. Remember, you got shipping. You can't be making much, guys. Whatever that number is. But the manufacturer needs to make money too. So if he's paying $100 for the guitar, whatever it is, it's got somewhere. He's paying X for it. Well, the person selling it to him, they got to make money too. So that means there's less money on their end to make it. They don't have time to do that. So I'm guessing that's what they're doing. They're pressing the fret in, and they're depending on that neck being close enough to get that thing in the box. And I still believe that's why the ball end fret's there. People were using it as a selling plus, and I think it's a manufacturing plus, because now they do all the finish work before it's even pressed in. They don't have to go back and do anything to that neck. That neck can go in the press. It's done. You don't have to end dress it. You don't have to crown it. You don't have to do anything to it. Think about it. You don't have to touch that neck. It's a ball and fret. What I'm saying makes logical sense. I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm saying if I owned that Chinese plant, that's how I would do it. You can call me whatever you want to call me, but when you got to make money, you got to make money. You got to figure out a way of producing a product quickly and less this time. Doing that to the end of the fret and pressing them in like that would save a tremendous amount of time. That means you're not checking anything. The CNC machine's doing the neck, it's cutting the grooves. You got somebody on the other side of the plant cutting all the frets, putting the ball ends on it. Now it's just a jigsaw puzzle. Slap that thing together, and you've got a jig. You're building the exact same guitar. You put the jig on the bridge, and you move those saddles to that bridge and tighten them. It's close enough. Put strings on it and ship it. I could be completely wrong, but we're not talking a lot of money. And for anyone that wants to say, well, I should get this or this or this, my advice is to go out and buy the wood and build your own guitar and try to make a living doing it. Understand that they don't make any money over in China, okay? There's no money there. The U.S. was the exact same way in the 20s and 30s. Labor was cheap. Material was cheap. Some of the greatest structures that we ever built was in that time. As a country develops, labor goes up. That's why you're seeing a lot of manufacturing leaving certain areas that used to be cheap, moving to other areas where it's cheaper. It's fine for a little while, but once people start making a solid amount of money that is repeatable, doesn't have to be a lot of money, it has to be repeatable. If you give me a choice of making X amount of money every week that's less than making a little more money that's unpredictable on when I get it over the year, I'm going to take the repeatable money because I can pay my bills, I can do better with that. So now that the China worker has that, they start being able to plan out how and what they buy, because now they know they're going to get X. So as the economy raises, so does the labor rate. I've said this before. If you think that buying these guitars is going to be like this forever, it's not. It can't be. It doesn't work that way. Once the competition all goes to China or Vietnam or wherever they're building them, and there is no U.S. or no Canadian, I'm going to say Canadian too, because there's some Canadian guitar companies that are really awesome guitar companies. There are some really awesome companies in the UK. They're all outsourcing to that area. Once the manufacturing dies here, there's nothing that keeps that in line, and we're already seeing it. We're already seeing the Epiphone, LTD, all these companies going up to the $2,000 price point. It's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. And as the manufacturing shuts down here, that means your dollar is going to be worth less, and their price is going to go up because they're the ones manufacturing the product. They have the money. It's not a sermon, guys, it's a thought. So when we do reviews here, I want everyone to understand I'm just reviewing what I see. That's all it is. I have nothing against teas. I've said it a million times. I wish the man a lot of luck. But it's very difficult to outsource 100% of your product, bring it here, do a setup, sell it, and make money. It's difficult. You don't have a name recognition. You don't have a vendor pushing your product. It's just difficult. And you don't have the buying power that Epiphone, Ibanez, and these other companies have. You might get a couple runs that are really good. And I've said it about Firefly. The one vendor for Firefly that does the angle pocket, that's their best vendor. It's their best vendor. The one that makes the access cut Les Paul for them, that's their best vendor. The other vendors are fine. I'm not saying anything about Firefly's other vendors. But the one that does the angle packet on the Strat and the access cut LP, their guitars are just a little better. The CNC work is a little better. The fret work is a little better. It's just a little better. Little better guitar. Every time Leo James comes out with a different model, it's a different production run. And it's the exact same thing with teas. Sorry, guys. Very sick. Very sick. Every every production run can be different. Maybe he got bad ones this time. Maybe his last production run was great. Maybe his first production run was great. I don't know. But that's why I've always said I don't let these companies use my reviews. I can review, I did a review of a guitar for Birdman a couple months ago. It was a West Creek. That was a great guitar. It was a great guitar. That guitar played nice and sounded nice. And it was an inexpensive guitar. I think it was a West Creek. I mean, it played so nice, I thought about getting one. But I got so many guitars here, it was like, what's the point? But if you want a nice guitar, that West Creek Les Paul, it was a nice guitar. Far better guitar than that Tees. If I had those two guitars sitting here, I'd put the Tees in the wood compactor or the wood chipper. I'd turn it into firewood compared to the West Creek. I just would. Why play the crappier instrument? If I had the West Creek and I had the Tees, I'm going to pick up that West Creek that Birdman sent me. It's a better guitar. I think the West Creek was about the same money too. It might have been cheaper. And it didn't have a pro setup. That was just sent from Amazon. So if you want a recommendation, West Creek. Am I going to say West Creek is awesome? Absolutely not. Because of just what I just said. If I go to on Amazon and I upload a video to that West Creek guitar and they send more guitars to Amazon from a different production run, who's to say the next ones won't suck? That's the problem with these Chinese companies. That's the problem. Don't let any other YouTube channel tell you otherwise. Every production run is going to be different. I guarantee it. And I've reviewed enough of them to know that's the truth. My apologies, guys. That's just the nature of the beast.
You said stock up on your solder. The silver price is at $79 an ounce now.
Yeah, everything is going up, guys. We have to understand that it's going to go up. Period. Now you can say tariff, you could say this, you could say that, you can say whatever you want us to call it. You know, in the UK, they have they have a VAT tax, all kinds of these different taxes. You call it an import tax, you call it a VAT tax, you can call it whatever you want to call it. They're all trying to stabilize their markets. When you don't manufacture something, you're dependent on other areas. Everything gets out of whack. We have gotten so used to buying cheap and having a large market as far as pay and being able to live way beyond our means. And I say that respectfully, guys. I live beyond my means, believe me. And I guarantee you, 50% of you watching tonight live beyond your means. We do. Because that's how things are here. I'm not saying that's bad or good or wrong or whatever. We're in for an adjustment. And I hope things work out. But things are going to go up. The cost of material, and I'm gonna view it this way. This is a simple way of looking at it. Mass. The more mass something has, the more it's going to cost. Because when you pay $30 for a sheet of foam, and there's nothing there, there's no mass to a sheet of foam. Manufacturers love it. Because if you're buying air, it's foam, and they get $30 for it. Look at the mass of the product, how much raw material is there. That's where it's going to be at. Any metals, like we were talking about silver, copper, anything like that, gold, aluminum, high quality aluminum, anything made out of solid materials, it's going to go up. Things made out of recycled, cheaper urethanes, plastics, polymers, that's going to increase in price, but that's going to be all we can afford because it's a cheaper product. And now you're going to start getting into engineering companies, engineering things out of these type materials to be as strong as X. And we see that in automobiles with crash foam on the front of the cars and plastic. There's no steel bumper. It's just a bunch of crash foam and some urethane on the front of your car. Even the front radiator support now is plastic. So it's happening. You just got to look at it as that's the way it is. So look at your guitar. It's still a wood product. Now look at your house. You've got synthetic floors, plywood floors, vinyl, you got drywall, you got plastic water lines, you've got flex line on your HVAC. There's nothing solid there. Look at what your house costs. So now look at your guitar and you want $200. Well, you're expecting a solid piece of wood and a solid piece of neck, steel tuners, steel strings. Everything we just said was going up. Copper, windings, metal pole pieces. precious metals. Why do you think all these companies have went to this zinc, this engineered cheap metal that you see on a lot of the budget guitars? So now when you buy a bridge, like I just bought a bridge for this guitar, it's solid brass. It's $100 just for the basic one. It's $200 for the nice one, made out of solid brass, because brass is expensive. The machine time's the same. Whether I use zinc, stainless steel, mild steel, brass, the machine time is pretty much the same. Brass is a softer material than stainless steel, so it's going to machine faster. But the majority of the difference is in the material. So when they start mass producing the cheaper ones, they can lower that price and offset it with some of the more expensive ones. But when my point in this is our guitars are made out of products that have mass. Anything with mass, that product is going through the roof. Go to Lowe's and it's $10 now for a 2x4. And that's crappy pine for one 2x4. And when you look at the specs of these guitars, it's a mahogany body. Well, it needs to be. It's a guitar. But you're wanting to pay $200 for it. It's got a maple neck and a mahogany body. Those are expensive woods. They're expensive woods. We don't have plastic tuners yet. I'm sure they're coming. But it's still a metal tuner, and we still have, metal strings unless you're playing a nylon string guitar. You've got pots and electronics and stuff. It's all stuff that has mass. And that stuff is really getting expensive, guys. So we need to take that into consideration. And I was thinking that when I said that the Tees guitar was worth it for $279. If it didn't have bad fretwork, I'd say the guitar is worth it for $300 in today's world. The one I received is not, because the fretwork was horrible. Just how it is. So I want to come up with a list of things that we can set up, that we can grade these guitars to. Whether or not it is a setup makes a guitar play decent. That guitar, it played nice, but there was just something about, and I said it when I was playing it, when I played lead, it just didn't play well with me, if that makes sense. It wasn't easy to play, if that makes sense. I really had to fight, and I think I said that a couple of times. I really had to fight to get the guitar to do certain things. That could be a setup issue. The note and the sustain, that's bad frets, where it would choke out and just not sustain. That's just bad fretwork. So let's take our break. I want everyone during the break to post in what you feel a budget guitar needs to have to make it valuable. I want to say, pickups, that's something a lot of people are okay with if the pickups are pooey in it, because we're buying a budget instrument. I think I've said my piece. It has to have a good neck, a good body, and decent fretwork. These are things that the majority of the people just don't want to fix. They don't really mind putting tuners on it or changing the pickups and changing strings. So during the break, please type in what you feel these guitars need and what kind of price point that you think they should fall under. And keep in mind, if you had to do it, be reasonable. $150, in my opinion, is not reasonable. It's not. Not even if you make it in China, because you got to ship it. So you got logistic issues there. But if that's what you feel, put it in. If you think 150 is where it should be, then someone will have to start out a billionaire and own a company for 10 years and end up a millionaire. I don't know. Well, let's take our 5-minute break, guys, and it's Vox time. If Vox is still in the chat, this is his favorite time. So Vox will entertain everybody until we come back. All right, guys, see you in about 5 minutes. Okay, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify everything with that with you all. I go back and I watch every stream, and the one thing I want to try to be is consistent. So, um, I, I've talked to people on the phone and through Discord. The reason you don't see as many Firefly videos on the channel is Firefly has kind of set their standard, if that makes sense. I haven't seen anything from the company that makes me go, they've went up another level, if that makes sense. They really have kind of stabilized their product in the last 2 years, and they're kind of holding to it. They did when they first come out. All their guitars had microphonic pickups in it. Linnell had one of their Les Pauls that everyone still clamors over. It was the smoked gray one, and that was one of their very first production runs. It's a great playing guitar, but the pickups you could use them as microphones. They were horrible pickups, and I ended up going on Amazon and I got a set of the Epiphone Pro Buckers with the two volume knobs and the pots and the jack, the whole thing from Epiphone for $70. Both pickups, all the tone controls, and the output jack, and they're alpha pots for $70. So I literally dropped that in the guitar and I reworked the frets on it. That guitar has conventional frets before Firefly went to the ball and fret. We've thought about selling it. Why sell it? I put hip shot tuners on it. I think it has the stock bridge and those Epiphone pickups. That's a great guitar. Um, I think, what was that, about $170 guitar or something like that?
Probably.
You know, off Amazon back in the day. So we don't have that much money in it, and it's a good playing guitar. There's no need in selling it. It does the Epiphone Les Paul thing just as good as an $800 Epiphone would, if that makes sense.
Birdham wants to know if you've heard from the amp guy, Mike.
I have not heard from Mike. Now, that was the email that I had, and I know back at the time, oh, thank you, Trucker Bob. I know back in the time he was using two different emails, and I'm pretty sure that email that I sent and I posted was for his pedals. And Mike has really laid off the pedal building thing, so I don't know if he's still checking that email or not. Mike will pop in for a little bit, and then you might not see him for a month or two. He is a moderator of the channel, so if you see Mike come in, he'll have a little blue wrench. That's when you need to kind of jump on him and say, hey, can you go to Discord and put in a new email? I can go through my phone and see if I have his phone number still. It's been a while since I spoke to Mike on the phone. But I'll try one more time for you to get his number. I'm looking for a more local amp guy. So anybody that knows a good amp repair guy, not a parts replacer, someone that actually goes in, knows how to check components, a good amp tech. Please put that information in the chat and go to Discord and put that information in Discord for other people. People that are talented at working and servicing on amps and guitars, that information is critical to our community because there's so many people out there that don't care or lack the experience that can really mess up your guitar or your amp. There's a local guy here in Strasburg. He's been successful at some things, like he's a Yamaha service center, so he fixed this. But I took him my Black Star, and he was SMDs. And I almost feel like saying, well, if he's a Yamaha service center, all this new Yamaha stuff, like the TF wing rack, that they make, the Yamaha rack mount, that's going to have SMDs in it. So I don't know what's going to happen with even his business in the future. If he refuses working on stuff with SMDs or can't get his head around it, there's not going to be much of a future for his business. Maybe he'll just continue to work on the older stuff. But almost all the new amplifiers, even with tubes, it's got some of that stuff in it. Unless you're buying a hand wound, you know, $3,000 or $4,000 amp, it's going to have a board on it with SMDs, sockets for the tubes. Even if it's tube, it's going to be that type configuration. We're losing people that wants to work on that. So if you know somebody, post that information. I've got stuff here that I want repaired. I got this little Black Star amp. I paid almost $1,000 for this amp. As soon as it went out on warranty, and I'm not the only person that's had issues with Black Star. Steve says, talk to Steve, he says it's most likely the MOSFETs. Could be. I don't know. I used to work on electronics like that, but I haven't in a long, long time. And I don't know enough, even if I put the meter on it, I don't have enough experience testing that type stuff to know what I'm really looking for, if that makes sense. I could probably fix it being a parts changer. I just don't feel like messing with it. I've got a little vibro champ down in the basement. Been down there for years. I've been thinking about restoring. I just need to take it apart and restore it. I know I can restore that. It's all post to post, no board. It's all hand wired. It's a 70s vibro champ. And I thought about fixing that up and putting a nice speaker in it, building a new, reclaimed pine cabinet for it, and doing a really nice restoration on it. I just haven't had the time. My plan was to do some work around here at the house over my vacation time or Christmas time, but I've been so under the weather, it's just been cutting into my time. So odds are we're not going to get the room moved around. I'm not going to get the stuff downstairs done that I wanted to get done. I've got a new cabinet that I want to make a new workbench downstairs with a solid granite top for miking equipment. The granite top's in my backyard. I can't even get it down the steps and into my basement. I don't have anyone that I can call that can help me get this 150-pound granite top off the sawhorses in my backyard down into the basement. Just one of those things. I have the cabinet downstairs. I just got to get it all installed and get the granite top put on it. Great working platform because granite stays perfectly flat, so you can get very accurate measurements off granite. I just haven't had the time to do it. Every time I go to do it, I just don't either have hands or I'm ill. So many things come in line with it. If I could just shake the cough, it is way down in my chest. That's the issue. Yeah, it's a vibro champ. Linnell it's a very old vibro champ. I think Steve and I looked it up. What was it, 74? We were thinking. We couldn't find really anything. Steve looked up the serial numbers and stuff. Really couldn't find anything, but we found a very similar serial number claiming to be a 74. So it's in the early 70s vibro champ, and it's a very holy speaker because when you look through it, you can see through the speaker. the paper is disintegrated, so it needs a new speaker. And what's crazy is the speakers for those vintage Fenders can go from $400 to $800 just for a real vintage speaker for this thing. Crazy prices on components to restore that thing. I wouldn't take it that far. I would probably just order like a 10-inch Eminence or something like that for it. Eminence makes some pretty good drivers. Mojo Tone makes some pretty good drivers. You probably put an Eminence or a Mojo Tone in it. Build me a nice. I've got a bunch of reclaimed pine at the shop that's like over 200 years old. I could glue up some of that and make a really nice cabinet for it. Uh, get some new Torlex, wrap the cabinet new Torlex, and just clean up the face and make a nice. I know I can get the new grill. The grill cloth actually isn't in bad shape on it. It's not torn. So I could probably be careful undoing it and just restretch it. The fender logo isn't broke. So I could probably get, other than the new Torlex on the outside, you know, everything else is pretty usable on it. The handle's still there, and most of those disintegrated. It's not in great shape, but it still has the original handle with the clips on it. I would just probably reuse all that. That way it retains some of its old character. I don't. The cabinet's gone, and I would never be able to pull the original Torlex off of it to reinstall in the new cabinet. So I'm going to have to get new Torlex for it. It would be a cool project. It's just I got so many other things to do. I really want to get the new lights in up here so I can do away with these lights and keep them down in the shop. Because every time I do a stream, I got to bring these lights up. And then when I do maintenance videos, I got to carry everything downstairs and put downstairs. I do have different cameras that I use in the videos versus streaming, so that's not a big deal. But the lighting is a big deal. So if I could get my other lights installed, that would really save a lot of time doing the stream stuff and review stuff versus the shop stuff. I am working on video 3 of the Ibanez, and I haven't posted any of the Jet stuff yet. I started working on one of the Jet setup videos. So I've got all that's been recorded, and then of course all the Ibanez stuff that's been recorded. And just so everyone knows, there's a really nice guitar in this gig bag, and I want to get it out for everyone, especially since if you guys have been here this long. You probably have already seen it, and I want to give a shout out to Shandor Music in Winchester, Virginia. Those guys allow me to take instruments home for reviews. And I told them I was going to have off all next week, and they allowed me to take a guitar home. So I want to show it to you guys. And this is what I'm talking about. Budget guitars, if you look at Leo James, a lot of their guitars now are in the $300 price mark. And it's kind of funny because like some of the monsoons are still at like 170, but then you can look at another monsoon and it's 270. So it's kind of strange. And now he's got this new one. You never know what you're getting when you order one of the epoxy finish Leo James. So now he's increased the price, on average $100 per guitar, but you get to see which one you're buying. I'll be honest with you, I've clicked on a couple of those, and some of them were like, ooh. I'm glad you posted it because now I know I definitely don't want that one. But there has been one or two that it's like, okay, I get it. You're gonna post this because this is one of the prettier ones, and you want a little more money for it. But there's been a couple of them that's kind of like, you're not selling that guitar for $350. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone else thinks it looks cool, but so they have changed out a little bit because a lot of their epoxy finishes, each one of them was different, so you didn't know what you were getting. Leo James, if you're listening, good concept. But the ugly ones that you're trying to get more money for, put those in the other stock. And pick out the top 10% of the ones with really good bodies. You're using bolt-on necks. Save that body. Now go through your necks. Pick your better necks, bolt those to the bodies, and ask that price, and call it a better product. That you've went through it, you've hand selected this neck, and you've hand selected this body. Try to sell it for more money. On the other guitars, if you do that, you can call them B stocks or you can call them regulars, whatever you want to call them, but sell them off cheaper. But make darn sure your upcharged ones are right. Don't send me a $350 Leo James that has bad frets. Okay, this guitar came from Shenandoah Music. It is $319 for this guitar. Okay, beautiful guitar, and it's made by Gretsch. And when I first saw this headstock, I really didn't like it, but now it is growing on me. I'm digging it. I'm digging the headstock. They're not trying to be Gibson. And the gig bag is $30. And comparing this gig bag to the one that Torsion sent, it's 3 times the thickness. But I still consider that gig bag just a dust cover. It's still just a dust cover. So let's plug this little guy in. It's a beautiful guitar. And it is a bolt-on neck. But this purple is awesome. It's a beautiful purple guitar. Beautiful guitar. It's a $319 guitar. They do have cheaper ones. They have one that's like $250 with 2 humbuckers. It's a little more basic on the color. Then they have one with a single pickup that is $189, and the neck is exactly the same. The neck on this guitar is really cool. I like the inlays. I dig that. I dig the inlay work, and it's nicely done too. I don't, they're well done. There's not a lot of filler. I like that. That's pretty cool. And the white black pickups. And this is a wraparound bridge, but each one of these has a separate screw so you can adjust the intonation. It's pretty cool. And it's got really nice tuners on it. The tuners are very, 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 very smooth. Very nice tuners. That's our bridge. And to be fair, I am setting the EQ all at 12 o'clock. So no equalizer. We do have just a little bit of chorus and a little bit of echo reverb. Pretty much the exact same settings that we did the T's with. I think someone changed, maybe Linnell. Oh no, we changed it at the end of the T's review. So I had to change the bass, middle, and treble back to 12 o'clock. So here it is, bridge position. Cut it back a little bit. It's bright. That's the tone and volume all the way up on the bridge. Let's go to our center position. Here's our neck position. Let's check tune. I never tuned it. I really like the tuning keys on this guitar. My only complaint on the tuning keys is the ratio. I'm going to say these are probably 15 to 1 or 16 to 1. So again, I've had the chance to play this guitar a little bit. What I feel is the weak point is the pickups. They're clear, but if I go like that's the neck position. Okay, if I go down to the bridge position, neck position. Bridge, neck. There's separation there. Now this is both of them together. I think they're okay. I want to say there isn't enough separation, but when I move them back and forth, I hear it. That's neck, and here's bridge. I don't know. They're clean. You can tell they're hotter. I haven't tested them, but if you dig into them, they break up a little bit. So that makes me want to go up to crunch a little bit. Let's check it out on crunch. This is crunch on the bridge pickup. Yeah, you can tell the difference. Well, granted, it's a humbucker. It has more push, more punch. Yeah, that sounds good with crunch. Here's our middle position. Let's go up to our bridge position. good sound.
Kurt said, that's a metal machine. Give her the gas.
Give it some gas. You know, guys, I want to play it clean. Uh, it's a little sharp sounding in the bridge pickup. I think in clean, the middle pickup sounds in the middle position sounds awesome. I like the neck. And Kurt's right. Gretsch is a rockabilly. That's what it's designed to do. So no wonder it already sounds better with a little crunch on it. You know, it's a rockabilly guitar. I don't really play rockabilly music, so that's why I was playing that. It's got it. Now let's go up to, let's try a lead. This is, let's go down to our bridge. This is just a lead channel. It's not a high gain. Yeah, it's got it. Let's go to our center position. Oh my gosh, Jupe. Thank you so much. Everybody put your hands together for Jupe on that one. Wow. Thanks. Yeah, this guitar, I think this guitar, I'm not going to argue with Kurt. It's probably going to sound good on high gain. But it really likes crunch and gain. That's not a high gain channel. This is just kind of like medium gain. But it seems to like it there. Here's neck. Yeah, it rocks. Again, $318, guys. Now let's run it up to the stupid gain channel. And I'm not using a boost pedal, guys. So this is guitar right into the little Yamaha. So it's guitar right into our little Yamaha amp right here. So here's the highest gain channel that I have on my Yamaha. Ooh, searching for Tone did a super chat. Thank you so much. I got to reopen the chat window. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Really, I mean, that's really the only thing that supports the channel, because if you notice, I don't turn ads on the live streams. I give you guys usually a day or two to get caught up for my followers, the people that really are diehard that watch, that I know watch. I usually don't I don't monetize the video for at least 2 or 3 days. So at that point, most of the people that know the channel, they've already watched the live stream. So if someone's watching it later, sure, there's going to be a couple ads. Now I do monetize the videos, right out of the gate. So hopefully you guys understand that. So here's our high gain setting. Gain is at 50%, mids at 50%, bass is at 50%, trebles at 50%, little chorus, little echo, little bit of delay. And I gotta give it a little bit more on the output. I'm not going to say they're stupid hot, but they have a good output to them. This channel, I have to go in. If you plug the thing into the computer, I can adjust the output. The special channel, if you're familiar with the little Yamaha, this one, I haven't really tweaked it too much. You always have to increase the volume on the special channel. Yeah, it's a good playing guitar. I'm not struggling with it. The setup feels natural. That's another. I was talking to Brian yesterday on the phone. Just so I'm honest, I talked to some other YouTube channels. Of course, I got Brian's guitar here, so I was talking to Brian. I was kind of apologizing for how long I had the gym, but to do a setup, sometimes you've got to. It sounds cliche, but every guitar has a spot where it wants to live, and sometimes you got to find it. You can't force it. Some guitars just have a spot where they like. So when I was setting up the gym, I made a couple of adjustments. I played it. I'd set it down for a little bit. I'd play it, go, okay. So what I'm getting out of this guitar, it's much more natural feeling. The setup on the guitar is natural feeling. This is my high gain channel, so let's try up in the middle position. up to our neck position. Just a little muddy. I think it's happy spot. I think the bridge works well with the high gain. I think the bridge is fine on the high gain. On high gain, I think the center position and the bridge, a little muddy, a little flappy. This is completely stock. And looking at the way the pickups are set up, this pickup here is set a little lower than the bridge. So the bridge could be that it just needs the pickup on the bridge position, on the clean, lowered a little bit, but that might be why it's getting a little bit more smack in the gain. I can tell you right now, this guitar, that's a nice guitar. Again, I'm going to say weak points, the pickups. Are the pickups bad? No, I think the pickups are okay in it. I think they fall apart. Like I said, the neck and the center on high gain kind of falls apart. But on just regular distortion, I think the neck and the center sounds awesome. I think that sounds good. I think it's got a little bite to it. Let me turn that back. Now this is just regular gain. I think the pickups are voiced for that. I think it's a Gretsch thing. It's a, you know, I think that's how it's voiced. I think that's how it's voiced.
Now, the Ibanez and compare them.
The Ibanez is going to be more bite and more gain. But I think that's how these pickups are voiced. And I think that's also why the voicing on this bridge pickup is the way it is for the real metalheads out there that want to flip down and switch up to the high gain setting, and then they can just really, you know. Let me turn that up just a little bit and get it. in the bridge position on high gain, it's I like that. That's pretty good. It's got a sound that makes you want to play a certain way. Sounds pretty cool. All right, someone wanted to hear the difference between this and the Ibanez. That was the bridge position on the Gretsch. So I won't change any settings. Bridge position on the Ibanez. Their voicing's a little different. Think these pickups are just a fraction hotter? I think the Gretsch is more mid-focused. I think it's more for that. I think the Gretsch sounds a little better doing that than it does on this guitar. If that makes sense. Every guitar will make you want to play a certain way, if that makes sense. I get that feeling out of this one. Yeah, I think the Ibanez is a little clearer on the low note definition, and I think the Gretsch pickup is a little bit more mid-focused, if that makes sense. Yeah, definitely mid-focused on the Gretsch. Right here I could hear it. And remember, guys, I have the EQ, everything's at 12 o'clock. So you could, on the Gretsch, what you could do is take your mid and cut it a little bit, and it's going to sound more like this guitar. If I wanted this guitar to sound more like the Gretsch, let's punch up the mid just to see what we get. Yeah, see if I kick the mids up, I can get this guitar to kind of act like that one. That's what it is. The Gretsch has got more mid kick. And what I've done, I've got the mid at 3 o'clock now on the Ibanez to get that sound. So let's cut the mid back to 50%. Let's go back to the Gretsch. Now I'm at 50% on the mid. maybe not quite a third. It's a good sounding guitar. $319. This is like I said, guys, I haven't checked the frets on it, but it plays nice. $319, I can already tell you it plays nice. It sounds nice. I really like some of the clean sounds in the center position and in the neck position. Like this is our clean. That's a copyright strike. Even though I'm attempting to play it as wrong as I can. Good, I said. I think I fucked that up. I screwed that up good enough to where I don't get a copyright strike. It's night now. Let's get our tone in. I really like the sound of this center position now. If you roll the tone back on it a little bit, I was screwing around with this earlier today. It's got a nice sound to it. I've got the tone back about 25%. Volume's all the way up. I'm in the center position. It's got a nice sound. Nice sounding guitar. So these are the kind of instruments we want to try to find, guys. It's a name brand. It's Gretsch. $319. Dual humbucker. It's got a nice bridge. This bridge also has screws on the back here. So you have individual saddles that you can adjust, but the whole bridge can twist back and forth on the posts. So all the knobs, everything feels really smooth. It's not a flat top. It's actually a carved top. And I love the color. This purple is just freaking awesome. And it's like a cream binding. It's not the white. And again, the binding here and the binding here is the same. And you're like, well, it's supposed to be. Believe it or not, some of the budget guitars, this will be white on the neck and it'll still have a cream binding. It's sometimes they're not always the same. So I like it when they have the binding on the guitar body and the neck the same. And I like the inlay work. And the frets feel smooth. Like I said, the tuners are really smooth. My only gripe on the tuners, and you can't have everything. I wish they were. I already know they're not 18-1 because when I turn them, it really makes a change on the tuners. So they're either 15-1 or 16-1 tuners, I'm guessing, but they feel very smooth. I would have liked a higher ratio, something that you could really fine tune a little better, but it is what it is. But I like it. I wanted to get this guitar in over a month ago, but they sold it. So I went in to pick it up for review, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, sold it." And I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Well, when you get another one in, let me know." So if you want to buy the guitar, reach out to Shenandoah Music, guys. They they treat us well. I'm sure they will work with you on the shipping to your house. Um, I'm not. I can't vouch for anything, but call them, ask them. Hey, instead of giving me 10% off, can you do free shipping? It's a $318 guitar. Believe me, we sold the Red Jackson for them, so that helps. When you guys call, like Trucker Bob called in. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I won the free guitar that come from here. They told me that. And that makes them, that's like, hey, that's so cool. Someone called in that got one of our products that we helped, somebody get a free guitar. That's so cool. They like that. So if anyone wants this guitar, it says Shenandoah Music for $319. Nice guitar. We are going to do a full review on it. So don't think it's not going to get a full review. We're going to check the frets. I'm going to check everything on it, just like we normally do. We're going to open it up and look at the electronics in here and see how well the soldering's done. Everything that we normally do. I can honestly tell you the finish on the guitar is beautiful. If it doesn't show up on the camera, it does have some metal flake in it, and it's a real fine metal flake. But it's a very pretty purple. I don't know if the light will show it. It's a sharp looking purple. But I think the way it looks with these inlays, that's what makes the guitar awesome looking. It's just a killer guitar. And these are the guitars, guys, that we're looking for. We're trying to find a guitar out of the box that sounds good. That the last thing you want to do is pay money for a guitar, plug it in and go, yeah, this pickups really suck. But I bought it knowing they were going to suck. I'm going to pick up some anyway. It's nice to get something that's coming out of the box that's pretty decent. It sounds pretty good. I'm not going to say that if you put Seymour Duncan's in this, it would sound better. I'm sure it would. But this guitar sounds good. $319. Plays good. Let's do the music and gear inspection on it though and see how well it's crafted. That is the determination. If it's not crafted good and we open this thing up and it's got really, poopy soldering in it and the frets aren't level, then, I'm not going to recommend it. But just going down the neck really quick here, let's just check here. I'm only going to go between the two strings. Right there on the 12th fret, it's got a little teeny weeny rock, and I'm only checking between the D and the G. There is a little teeny rock right there. So found one spot right there on the 12th. So that's going to tell me we know we at least have one fret, but it's a little teeny weeny one. So that's why I was saying we got to come up with a what do we consider bad? That one's not bad. It's what I would say most techs wouldn't pick up. But that doesn't mean that we're clear up here. You notice sometimes when we do reviews, it may rock at the top E, A, and then disappear in the center. And then sometimes it might be just in the center, and then sometimes it's on the high. So we have to really do a good check on the guitar. It plays nice. I like the way it plays. The setup on this guitar is better than the T's as far as how it feels under my fingers. It feels natural under my fingers. And the pickups are definitely better. So if you guys want to wait, next week we are going to do the review on this one. But if you want to get it, call Shenandoah Music, see what they'll work with you on it. They're good people over there, guys. Ooh. Oh, that's right. This come out of the gig bag. I'm sitting there going, okay, what stand did this guitar come off of? We have to give love to the companies that support the channel. So a shout out to Shenandoah Music for allowing me to take the guitar home and doing a full review. I'm not sure if we're going to do a live review or not. My recorded reviews, I can really get into more detail because sometimes I forget to do things. Like we didn't check the intonation on the T's. I didn't check the neck radius. I always forget something when I do a live review. So a recorded review, I've got a little checklist, and I go through my checklist. I make sure it's right, and then I can edit and really put up the pickup numbers in the screen. I can do all the extra stuff. So two different formats. You guys let me know which way we want to go. If we want to do a live review on the Gretsch, we can do a live review on the Gretsch, or I can do a recorded review on the Gretsch. Doesn't matter. But those are the ones we're looking for. So if anyone has any suggestions, this is our last live stream of 2025, guys. This is it. So going into 2026, if you're not a member of Discord, go over to Discord and post something in the general. What about this guitar? I've heard good things about this guitar. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a budget guitar. We do review the in-between and more expensive models. Just keep in mind, if it's an expensive model, it makes it harder for the channel to get our hands on. That doesn't mean we can't. It's just a little harder. A lot easier on a budget. And the more expensive it goes, the harder it becomes for us. But if enough people request it, we will get one to do a review. Okay, guys, I want to thank everyone that gave us a super chat tonight. I'm really surprised that I went 2 hours and 14 minutes, as sick as I am. But I feel, believe it or not, I feel better. I strongly think, everyone says, oh, I'm sick, I can't do. I think when we get up and we do what we have to do, when we concentrate on it, it takes our mind off our illness. I'm not saying I feel great, but I feel better now than when I started the stream. You know, they say music is therapy. Right there's proof. Friends are therapy too. They are. Coming on here, me playing, me talking to you guys, I truly feel better. And I know I'm sick. But it's just something about the therapy of music and playing guitar, guys. Hopefully you guys know where I'm coming from on that. And I want everyone to know here, this is an open, honest channel. So your all's opinion are just as important as mine. I only relay what I see here. Okay, when we check the frets on this Gretsch, I hope it's going to be decent. It may not be. Just going through the D and the G, we found one spot. So how many spots are going to be on the Gretsch? Are there going to be really, really bad spots like the T's? I don't know. Is it going to be like the Leo James, or is it going to be more like the Ibanez's and the Jacksons that we've been reviewing, where it's got a couple little teeny weeny spots where it just barely rocks, and then just one bad fret, like the Jet had only one really bad fret, but it had two or three spots where it just barely rocked. But I think it was the 23rd fret, it really rocked a lot. So I fixed that on that guitar. So that's what I was saying. One fret is easy to fix. So we need to come up with a game plan. What do we think is bad? Or what's acceptable at what price point? I guess that's the best way of putting it. I'm kind of curious to see what you all think. Please go over to the Discord. Maybe, I don't know what room to put that in. Maybe guitar and music equipment would be a good spot for you to make a post on what you think would be acceptable at certain price points. All right, I want to thank, again, everyone that gave a super chat. That's what runs the channel. And I hope everyone has a great holiday. If you have extra time off like I do, relax. If you've got the honey-do list, now's a good time to maybe nip away at that and take care of some things around the house and spend time with family. All right, guys, we're going to do our 5-minute ending window, and I can't thank you guys enough. Like I said, this is therapy for me. I truly feel better after doing this stream. Coming in here and chatting with you guys makes me feel good playing guitar. And Woofy has been the perfectly good little dog tonight. He's been sitting there listening to us chat. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your all's day to come and hang with me and other friends. All right, thanks, guys.